Awesome. Hi, guys. Welcome to the weekly AMA. Thank you for joining us as always. To those watching on YouTube, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. If you have questions on Discord, on Telegram, you can put them in the chat. We will be monitoring all of them. We will be here for the next hour to answer any and all questions that you may have about EverRise, the team, our mission, our dApps, anything EverRise related. We're here for you. Mista, we'll get to you right away, my friend. How are you?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
All right, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this armor section. Now, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, and sounds like a TV in the background as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man.
No worries.
Hello. I have a question.
Sure.
You're free to go. You said?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What's the road model of EverRise? What are your missions? We're all going to the null void.
The what?
Hello.
The what model? I'm sorry.
What the roadmap of EverRise and what are your mission?
The roadmap and the mission.
The mission.
Yes.
If you can perhaps mute Victor so we can the people can hear without the TV in the background. I think we'd all love to talk about the mission of EverRise. It's focused on security and making sure that individuals have the ability to take control of their own assets in a manner that is safe and responsible. That's why we built several decentralized apps.
All right, go on. I'm hearing you.
Right. So, we build out everything with the idea that decentralized finance is going to be around for many, many years. And so we build tools like the bridge, like a revocation dApp called EverRevoke, just things that will make sure that the system works smoother and more cleanly so that people can be safe and taking care of their own funds.
All right. Cool. It's good. All right.
On the contract in form of a swap and liquefy function, and it triggers that, then they can take that function and they can remove it by going bypass that function by using EverSwap, which is a revolutionary new way of doing swaps with the integrating current dexes, but actually a more efficient way of doing the swap.
Cool. All right, I have another question right here. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, I saw a post in EverRise. He said the post. I saw a tweet here. He said, "Why is do not mean trending? Do not mean is currently trending because it involves important NFT security information that every crypto DeFi user should know about. Don't fall victim to. Please explain this your tweet. I don't understand it."
So that tweet, it links to an article that we put together. We constantly release educational articles around the Web3 and DeFi space. That's just another article that we put out to educate, Twitter users about safety. So if you actually click the tweet and read into the article, you'll understand why we tweeted it and kind of everything surrounding the hashtag #DoNotMint situation that's been going on for the last little bit.
All right, sir.
To sum it up, #DoNotMint is essentially a lot of NFT projects are launching. They are saying it's a free mint. However, the contract is malicious and will immediately drain your wallet. So it's trying to take advantage of FOMO in the space. What does that mean? It means that they saw someone mint something for free that went to a 9 Ethereum floor. So essentially, they got 9 Ethereum for free. And everyone wants to not miss out on the next opportunity to make that happen. Oftentimes, when you're in that boat, it's called FOMO, fear of missing out. and you will panic mint, if you will. You'll mint it as quick as possible. You won't read what you're signing. You won't look into the project just because you're scared that you might miss out. However, extremely important to not do that because a lot of these contracts are malicious. The article goes into depth about that. But if you are ever minting something for free, always do it from a burner wallet.
All right, sir. But thanks, sir.
Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it. Appreciate the questions. I don't see any
All right.
other hands raised on Twitter Spaces, so if you do have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Do we have anything on YouTube or on Discord?
Not on YouTube at the moment, guys. If you're on YouTube watching, please feel free to write any questions you have in the chat, and I'll read them out on air. Anything in Discord? Peter, are you looking in there?
I am looking. Nothing there at the moment. But we might as well reiterate what you said, TJ, about creating a burner wallet. There's nothing stopping anybody from creating as many wallets as they feel they need to be safe. I say this all the time. Redundant systems are anti-fragile. If your own personal wallet security comprises 10 wallets as opposed to one, the most you can lose on any individual exploit is 10% of your funds. Unless someone has a different way of getting access. So the more wallets, in my view, the better. Especially if you're engaging with a brand new protocol or a brand new NFT project that you've never heard of. Then you can only lose what you put into that one wallet versus having the entire thing drained. So just best practices. I have several wallets. I think most of us do. So just another way to keep things safe.
Absolutely. I've got multiple wallets also, and they all do different things. Some of them have NFTs in, some of them have, my main. Well, I've actually split a few of my holdings out across wallets, to be honest. And again, this is why things like having hardware wallets, you can have more than one of those also. And again, just kind of gives you that peace of mind knowing that you're splitting across multiple different wallets. So if God forbid you do something and you interact with something that you wish you hadn't of, you're not jeopardizing your entire portfolio at once.
Well said. Also, we'll take this opportunity. If you did not know, Jason has been promoted to Chief Marketing Officer. Welcome, Jason, to the role.
Thank you. Guys, thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody. And I want to say massively thank you to everybody on social media and in the EverRise community too. It's all right, Mister. I mean, the reception has been, just amazing, and getting up to speed with everything that's been going on in terms of marketing and the connections that we've got currently ongoing, and the hard work that Jen and TJ have already kind of laid out. So it's exciting to be a part of the core team and to be helping guide EverRise in its mission to become a widely known resource for projects, developers to kind of develop and build in this space and to keep people safe. I'm looking forward looking forward to the when marketing questions. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of those, but there'll be plenty of responses to it as well.
Hey Jason, question for you real quick.
What?
When marketing?
Well, we don't stop marketing here at EverRise. Sometimes the marketing you see is overt, which is right in your face, and you see it. I mean, Jen and Suresh did an amazing job earlier on in the Infura dev discussion. That was incredible, and that in itself gets more eyes on Rise. And having builders speak with other builders and that type of audience and community behind them is perfectly the demographic that we're after right now in this type of market. We want to not only attract investors to look at EverRise, but we also want to talk and attract builders that are looking to utilize our solutions and our future solutions. So well done, Jen. So big, massive congratulations to you and Suresh for doing such an amazing job of representing EverRise so well. But a lot of marketing that we're doing is kind of, and maybe under the radar. You don't necessarily always see it, but it's certainly going on. Certainly discussions are being had all the time with different partners and different platforms. One thing I will say, and again, what Jen has said many, many times in the past, Jen, obviously, you can talk about your role, because obviously Jen is now CBO. She's involved in the running of relationship between us and other businesses. And, every time we speak to other projects, other platforms, other large corporate entities that are associated with crypto in some way, they're always blown away and impressed by the certainly the technology that we're building and the dApps that we have currently out. And it seems to be a bit of a pattern, right, Jen? That and it kind of puts us in a really good position when we have these conversations with them about how we can help them and what they can do in return.
Yeah, definitely. And like what I'll say is, Jason, you've been in the role for less than 24 hours and you're already making waves. So it's really awesome. You guys would be shocked to see how much happens behind the scenes. But with regards to the consensus infra call this morning, that was all Suresh. I think he did a fantastic job talking about the story behind EverRise, why we took the approach to development that, we ultimately did, and kind of gave insight to what the future of EverRise looks like. What was really incredible was coming out of that, we obviously got to meet with some other speakers, some other folks building within the space, so strengthening our networks along those lines. And yeah, I think, this is a build market. I mean, any market should be a build market, but I think more so now than ever, we're doubling down on not only strengthening our ecosystem through development, strengthening our partnerships through, general networking, starting to go to in-person events, doing more things like the community call that we did with Infra and all those other things. So a lot to look forward to over the next couple of months.
What was there? More than like 5,000 people in that info call at one point. It was a huge audience. It's a brand new audience as well. Most of this stuff happens on Twitter Spaces. We see it on Reddit sometimes or in Telegrams, but it was nice to see a serious community of builders hosting it on a brand new app, by the way, that I had to download. I think we all did. And then to see just a brand new bunch of people who are engaging in Web3 in a different way and in a sort of more concerted way, a more considered way. And it was really all about the building. So is that going to be on YouTube for people to check out, Jen?
Yes, I believe so. I'm in contact with their CMO, but it looks like all community calls that they do at some point after they're live, they do get reposted to YouTube. So as soon as I have that link, we'll get that over to you guys. So if you missed it, you can always go in and rewatch.
Great.
Jen, I have got a question from YouTube that's been asked by Staking Pappy. I'm a little late. Hello, Jen. You've done an amazing job as the CMO. Now that you are CBO, how is the transition, and what was the most exciting achievement as the CMO?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
what a loaded question.
I know.
I think the most exciting achievement for me as former CMO of EverRise, I think, was kind of like the shift that we were able to introduce to the community when it came to marketing. When I came into that role, we were very much, fresh off of launch. We had been around for maybe 3.5 months post-launch. And there was always like a lot of like, when influencers, when are you guys going to get like these big YouTube channels to make videos? And, I think the pivot that we were able to do there, not only as a community, but you guys kind of trusting in the direction of like, guys, like, this is a very, very small part of what a marketing strategy is supposed to look like. And that understanding from the community, I think, has actually allowed for us to do a lot more meaningful, especially organic marketing and building out organic networks. So I guess I think that's personally my biggest achievement, but quite honestly, it wouldn't have been possible without the community standing behind me and standing behind that direction. I'm really excited to see where Jason takes it. So now in the Chief Business Officer role, it's a little bit different than what I was doing before. Obviously, I've been in it for about a week or 2 weeks in an official capacity. I'm not sure if anyone picked up on it when we updated the website. But essentially what I'll be taking over is all BD relationships and partnerships, anything having to do with investor relationships, as well as the sales funnel and any recurring revenue streams or revenue streams for EverRise Inc. as a company. It's been really fun getting my hands dirty and getting in the trenches with the sales team with them. I've learned quite a bit from how things have just been going. We're streamlining a lot of things to make it so that our sales funnel is actually scalable, and we're going to be able to handle a large influx of volume. So yeah, it's been an interesting transition, but I've actually really enjoyed it. You know, all I have to say is, like, as we're seeing the team shape up with Jason stepping into this marketing role, I think where we're going to be able to take things together as a team and as a company is going to be pretty insane, for a lack of better words. I thank you for dealing with me rambling. I don't know if I covered everything, but hopefully that answers your question.
You did, and we work so well as a team, right? We get on so well as individuals, and together we kind of have such an amazing skill set between us that, like, we complement each other so well. So, like, when Jen said that, like, we're going to take it, like, EverRise to the next level, like, there is so much being worked on in the behind the scenes. You guys, cannot imagine right now. Like, the dev team are on flat out working, building, exciting things coming, in terms of the just ingenuity that goes on behind the scenes, let alone just the skills, and the actual foresight to kind of look at problems that exist, not just today, but in the future as well, and especially as we're in this type of market, and when obviously the excitement comes back into the market, having more dApps ready to go out, and having platforms like EverLaunch for projects to launch into a market where they've got the opportunity to go in any chain, any of the 5 chains that we're on, and certainly straight off the bat have a time, not a timed liquidity locker, but a community held vote system that they can be flexible with liquidity and beyond that with EverSwap. It's just exciting. But you guys are going to have questions, week in, week out, and this is why we're here, because we want to answer them. And I see that as another question in chat here from Cybermule. It's a good question. When can we claim our Huddle passes if we were only staked at the time, didn't have the loose Rise in our wallets? So this is a complicated one, a very complicated situation. I touched upon it a matter of weeks ago when the Huddle Pass came out. So I the team, the dev team, are aware that there were people that didn't have any loose Rise in their wallet when they were staked, and all I can say is it's not a priority right now, but it is something that down the road we will look at addressing. So there's no time limits on claiming these Huddle passes. Okay, they're going to be indefinite. And one of the big things that I've learned is that when it comes to development, that we have to be very careful about how we say things and the timeframes that we give for them. So what I'll say is the development team know about that situation. They're going to look at it, but right now the priority is, of course, working on the features they're working on, and obviously the dApps moving forward. There's a lot going on, and obviously as we look to, in the future expand the team, we can start looking at multi-pronged attacks when it comes to working on multiple things at the same time like this.
Jason, there was just like one thing that you said earlier that I do want to take a moment to circle back to.
Sure.
We were talking about the future of EverRise and how that future looks so bright. I do want to give you guys a little bit of insight into a metric that we look at pretty frequently. Within DeFi, I think one of the most important metrics for you to look at when you're looking at a protocol is actually TVL. This is how we measure, what is the overall growth of this layer 1, this layer 2, how much of the assets are locked up, what is the value of those locked assets. And when you look at, things like DeFi Llama, where they are ranking protocols by TVL according to various categories, services, whatever DeFi protocol type you fall into, it's really exciting for us to see that, across all service TVL ratings, EverRise is within the top 10. And then you break that down further by each chain that we're on. For Ethereum, we're in the top 20. For BSC, we're number 2. For Avalanche, we are number 1 in terms of services for TVL. Polygon number 3, and Phantom number 1. And I think, like, as we move forward and continue to build out our business model, and really we're a SaaS technology company. We create technology for other protocols to come leverage and use, and the fact that we're kind of spearheading that in Web3 is really huge. And when we say we're spearheading it, we're not just saying like, oh yeah, we're spearheading it because it sounds like a great marketing term or a good phrase to say, but it's if you actually go in and you look at the on-chain data and you look at the aggregators of TVL and various other metrics, whether that's DApp Radar, you're going to see that EverRise is consistently within the top. And so expanding on that further, especially as we start to build out more within the Avalanche, Phantom, and Polygon communities, because so much of our community is either Ethereum or BSC based, it's going to be really, really exciting.
Absolutely. I've got a question here for maybe TJ, you want to answer this. Efren in the YouTube has asked a question, with the restructuring of roles, where is Wasso? So Wasso, obviously, he left the core team a month or so ago, 2 months ago now. Do you want to just elaborate on that, DJ?
Yeah, I feel like it was a couple months ago. I actually feel like Jen would be the best person to answer this. I noticed that you were unmuting Jen, but all I'll say about this is Wasso is still very much around. I'll let Jen kind of take it from here.
Yeah, so Wasso needed to step back, for personal reasons. He was dealing with a lot and kind of needed to focus on things happening in real life. But he is still, as TJ said, very much around. I talk to Wasso on a daily basis. He still contributes to BD relationships. The lovely thing was when he left, and this is still very much true, but he's like, all of my relationships are Rise's relationships. He's not really gone. He continues to make introductions and is doing a lot more stuff, I would say, in the background while he takes care of, the personal things that he's dealing with. And whenever Wasso is ready to come back into the spotlight, like, we're here for him and we're ready for him. He'll always be EverRise family. But quite frankly, it doesn't feel like he's left because he's still in my DMs on a daily basis. So there's that. Wasso is still around.
He bleeds EverRise like the rest of us.
I'm currently scheduling a tweet to go out any minute of a fun little event that we will be doing. If you were in Spaces yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, you are about to know. So bear with me as I just put this tweet together. Thank you so much. Also, there are no current requests on Twitter Spaces. If you do have a question, please raise your hand.
Don't be shy, guys. I know you want to come up and speak to us. Speak to Peter and get one of his answers.
All is quiet in Discord right now, but yeah, all I need is a little bit of kindling, and I'll go on for 10 minutes. Just
love it. Yeah.
Ask me a question.
Here, I'll fill the space, Peter.
Sure.
A lot of stuff is coming out right now between the SEC and the various regulatory bodies in the United States around crypto. High level, you want to tell us how you feel about it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the one that's getting the most press right now is the SEC's lawsuit against a Coinbase employee for insider trading. That defendant was allegedly learning what tokens were going to be listed on Coinbase and then tipping off his brother and a friend. So the thing that people are concerned about in that complaint is that the SEC went through 9 separate tokens that were listed on Coinbase and said these are all categorically securities. So everyone got all up in arms and is wondering whether the SEC is attempting to sort of make rules by enforcement. Like, if you get this body of common law together, where in various cases, like, various courts agree that these tokens are securities, without actually that being the question presented as to who's liable, but a component of liability against someone for insider trading, it is a bit of a backdoor that they're trying to get with here, because these tokens were not named as defendants in this lawsuit, right? So it's a way for the SEC to perhaps clarify their position on what is a security without having an adverse party in the litigation. So sneaky SEC, I see you. One thing that I would note about these tokens is that the way in which they raised funds was a little bit more direct than like just a pre-sale and a liquidity pool. In each of the 9 cases, there was like a direct ICO or a direct, we will send you tokens for X amount of dollars. So it's an interesting kind of, when it comes to the Howey test, what is a security? I think the question impacted there is, what does it mean to offer an investment contract in the first place? And I think, at least in this particular lawsuit, the SEC was sticking to tokens that were offered in a more explicit way than your average DeFi project. So that is, with some trepidation, arguably good news for protocols like EverRise, as long as we continue to stay on what we believe is the right side of regulation. And of course, we've been quite careful with all that. So it wasn't, that particular lawsuit wasn't the death knell of anything. There's still going to be a lot to be hashed out as to what is and isn't a particular kind of asset class. So I hope someone has a question about something else, but that's, 5 minutes with Pete on the current state of regulatory affairs in the USA.
Thanks for entertaining my question, Peter.
No problem.
Sneaky SEC, eh?
Yeah, indeed. Like, no adverse party. Like, these are securities, but there's no defendant to say they're not. It's up to the insider trading defendants don't care. They just want to get out from under the hook of the insider trading allegations. But
absolutely. Lee Hopwood, hello to you. And Alex Davis has a question very quickly in YouTube. Can you talk about how the bench of projects or pipeline of projects looks like or looking to join the EverRise ecosystem? Jen, take it away.
Guys, I got a call there for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Perfect. Yeah, more than happy to take that. So, I would say now that we're a little bit more organized and streamlined, the pipeline actually does look fairly healthy. I think something that should be to no secret to anyone right now is, given market conditions, projects, we're finding that a lot more projects are a little bit, I would say, strained or being overly cautious, which makes a lot of sense, right? We don't know how long we're going to be in a downward market. You have to make sure that you're extending your runway so you can continue to build out, whatever it is that's within your roadmap. But that being said, there are a lot of projects that are now looking to do things like migrate, upgrade their smart contract, take advantage of these times to really upgrade their protocols. So we're seeing a major spike in interest for EverMigrate, which is really exciting for us. There are a few projects that we're actually talking to about helping them through their migration. EverSwap continues to be a really, I would say, between EverMigrate and EverSwap, I would consider those two of our biggest DApps right now. There are a couple of projects that are also thinking around, how are they going to adapt to the future of DeFi, which we all know is moving towards a multi-chain system. So there is a lot of interest, and it's a case-by-case basis. But, the way we look at it is we're here to provide tools for other developers to build out their protocols. We want to cover the basic infrastructure so they have something that's secure, reliable, and users can trust it to transact while they go and build out whatever it is their core utility and focus on that. And so with that said, I think, it's a little bit of a slower process, but we don't mind. We're here to try to do everything we possibly can to help these protocols continue to build. And yeah,
the most important thing is, Jen, the discussions are open. And
exactly.
You've got the relationships have already been established with these projects, right?
Yep.
So, and it's looking healthy. You were going to say to Peter, sorry.
No, I was going to say, Peter, you're in a lot of these BD calls with me as I've come into this role, and as I've transitioned. Would you say that accurately covers it? There's a lot of projects that, while market conditions are tough and spending is tight, there are a lot of projects that are looking to take the next step in building out their protocol. And so there's been a lot of interest just from that angle.
Yeah, totally. I think, good projects like to get the order of operations right. And, there's a time for bridging. There's obviously a time for migrating, and to make sure that they integrate responsibly is good. So there are dozens of conversations currently ongoing and, at various levels of maturity. But, the services are there. People are aware of them, and every week we see adoption. So yeah, Jen, you nailed it. And when the market does return, everything will be set. And if the market conditions return right when Everlaunch comes out, then watch out. That's all
we could say it's all about the timing, right? right, Peter? In that situation, it's all about timing. And take this opportunity to any project that's listening in right now. If you want to find out more about our ecosystem and how our DApps can help your project, feel free to reach out to Jen and Peter. Whether it be migrating to a new contract, whether it be removing sell pressure off your chart by bypassing the swap and liquefy, or just simply just getting to know more about the project and about the DApps. Or locking your smart contract behind a community vote and decentralizing yourself and having a completely different governance system that instills trust and transparency between you and your community. Feel free to reach out. But just wanted to say that because I know that there are people here that are part of other projects that may be having these questions asked and saving dev time, right? So they don't have to code their own migrate tool. They can use ours. I mean, so many projects have already utilized it, and as we've seen in the past, migrations don't have to be a minefield, right? They don't have to be a problem. They can be smooth. They can be a leisurely pace, and EverMigrate certainly instills that. But yeah, no other questions on YouTube. I'm not a co-host, so I can't see any hands up, TJ.
No hands up at the moment, but Victor's back up here.
All right. Can I say something?
Go for it.
All right. I'm actually a newbie in DeFi, but completely I'm looking at this EverRise ecosystem. EverRise ecosystem going to be the best so far. It's going to be the best this year because this project and the team, they are working together for the betterment of their projects. So I want to thank you, EverRise. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the question you have answered. Thank you for everything. Actually, all right. Thanks. Big thanks to the EverRise team. They are a great team working for the betterment of the projects. Thank you all. Thank you.
Hey, Victor, thank you so much. We are working to make the space safer and make it better. And to hear you say that is just really affirming, and we really appreciate you. Always ask questions, do your own research, and we'll be here for you.
Yeah, like anyone in the audience and yourself, like if you look over the website, the white paper, through the DApps, and you're not sure about anything, we're here every day during the week to answer these questions. And like TJ says, the fact that we're not getting so many hands coming up to ask us questions is a testament to the fact that our community as a whole are very well educated on the EverRise ecosystem and everything surrounding Rise. So, but I am mindful that, people like yourself, Victor, that are new to DeFi, that are maybe new to this space, that are maybe listening in right now, don't feel afraid to come up and ask a question, because there may be multiple people in the audience wanting to know the same answer, but they're it's a big thing. It's a big thing to come up on stage and ask in front of an audience. But it's pretty relaxed environment. We're not gonna say any question's a stupid question. In fact, some questions we've had have ended up being great ideas, right, guys? I mean, some of the community members have just asked a question, and we're like, actually, that's a really good idea. Like, the problems that you face every day in DeFi, we are looking to solve, and we haven't got all of the ideas in the world. We've got a lot of ideas, but you guys have got ideas too, and we love hearing from them.
Yeah, we've actually seen people's questions turn into live features on the apps, which is really cool. I don't know if there's other protocols that can say that happens from Twitter Spaces with their communities.
Yeah, we involve the community every step of the way through the process, and we're not going to hype stuff up. We're not going to give, we're not going to try and make paint an improper picture of things. We work behind the scenes, and when it's ready, we release it, and when it's close to release, we'll let you guys know. All I can say, and Jen and Peter and TJ can say, is we're very, very busy. Like, I've never been as busy. Like, and I want to say right now that I got criticized. Somebody on Twitter, when Suresh tweeted out about me becoming CMO, someone put, Jason, you're gonna have to wake up before 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I think they did it as a joke, because I always do good morning at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon UK time, because obviously I'm aware that obviously a lot of our community are multiple time zones, so I try and kind of go in between. And Yeah, guys, I don't wake up. I want to let you guys know I don't wake up at 1 in the afternoon. I promise you. It's just when I decide that I'm going to GM everyone else because that's when everyone else is doing it. I wish I could have like a 12-hour sleep. I don't even remember the last time I've slept more than 6 hours, to be honest with you.
Jason, that's what happens when you put the word marketing in your title. People come at you for and any small dip in the chart, people are gonna be like, it's all Jason's fault.
Yeah, honestly, it's all my fault. Honestly, every dip's going to be known as the Jason dip from now on. There's going to be lots of them. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But you know, the market is volatile, and with the dip, then it goes up and down. So, what's the old saying that we say with every? I'm not going to say it. The original marketing. Do you remember it, Jen? You're going to say it, aren't you?
For every fall.
Hey, you're wearing the hat now. If I'll respect it. Like, you don't want to say it, we don't have to say it.
It's but you're right. It quite often is the case that when everyone's got their own perspective of marketing, right? And everyone's got their own version of what marketing should be and what it should be about. I think the main thing is striking a balance, and it has to be in the interests of the company. It certainly has to be in the interests of the holders and the token, right? It's a big balance. We could splash lots of money at like frivolous things and really hurt ourselves right now in a market that's very uncertain. We're just basically, our priority right now is to make sure that we not only survive this market, but also have the tools and services out ready for when things start to turn around.
We got a nice panel of new speakers up. I think
we do have a panel of new speakers right before someone else does pop up to speak, which will be Monty first. Thank you for your patience. The tweet has gone out that I was talking about. I pinned it to the nest, but I think it might take a couple seconds to populate. But on Friday, August 5th at 2 o'clock, we will be hosting a joint Twitter Spaces with Certic. Something Certic has said to us time and time again, especially recently, is your community is everywhere and your community is smart. I just want to let everyone know that credit where credit is due. A lot of the work on social media happens. It's done by the community constantly. Day in, day out, education nonstop. It's super important. Certic recognizes it. A lot of other people
recognize it. And they let us know, TJ, right? We didn't go to them. They let us know that. Yeah,
exactly. So it's because of the community that this is happening. One of many things that is happening because of you. So I just want everyone to know that, if you think that you're just one voice on Twitter, all it takes is one account with one tweet to catch the right eye. So just want to let everyone know that. If you can please like and retweet, maybe leave a question on that tweet above, that would be awesome. And both ourselves and Certic look forward to seeing everyone there on Friday at 2 o'clock on August 5th. Monty, how are you?
How's it going, everybody? I hope you can hear me. I'm kind of going into a spotty service in my car. Couple things. One quick question I did have. So, for instance, like a project that has a renounced contract, right? Is it hard in order to onboard a project like that onto EverSwap without being able to communicate with devs and whatnot?
Yeah, so the thing about projects that have renounced contracts is they could list on EverSwap, but it wouldn't really benefit the project in any way because we're not able to adjust tokenomics. We're not able to stop the swap and liquefy function within the smart contract. But thankfully, there's actually a solution for that. If there are projects that are renounced and they're looking to be able to have access to the functions within their smart contract so they can whitelist, blacklist, and upgrade, there's EverMigrate, where you can actually migrate from a renounced contract to a new contract and utilize that to drain the liquidity in order to put that towards the new project. Or the new contract, I should say, if it's the same project.
All right, I have another question.
So my second question. Hello.
Just wait 1 moment. Let Monty finish his question, and we'll get to you.
My second question is just in general, like Just in general, what do you guys think healthy liquidity is to market cap? Like I've heard 10%. I know when we were in V1, our liquidity was pretty high, and so didn't have a lot of price movement. But do you guys have a sweet spot?
There is a sweet spot. If you want me to give you the calculation now, I would struggle. But you don't want to have a thin liquidity, right? You don't want to have an inflated market cap or a false market cap, because loads of people look at market cap and they determine whether or not they want to kind of ape into a project, right? Because they see the market cap going up and up and up. But if the liquidity isn't there, and it's certainly a thin liquidity, that's very dangerous, because as fast as price can go up, price can go down. As soon as a few big holders pull out, that's it. You've serious price impact. So really, you want to again, a healthy liquidity ratio to market. And Peter or TJ, Jen, if you want to come in there, it's really important that you kind of, when you do the research, that you're not being tricked. I mean, I can make a token tomorrow, and I know Peter's touched on it in the past. I could make a token tomorrow, Jason Coin. Get in soon, guys. 100x. I'm joking. And I could give it like a 500 million market cap. I could set it up. I could screw the liquidity ratio around in a really unsustainable way. Yeah, it'll completely wreck everyone else that got in after me. But who cares? Because I'm a selfish developer that wants to, take advantage of others. I mean, don't fall for traps. Okay, guys. There's lots of people out there that want to scam you. There's lots of people that want to mislead you. Now I don't know what project you're referring to, and I don't particularly want to comment on any particular project because it's not my place to. But it all comes down to sustainability, right? We are in a world where obviously there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and the market's not great, but we are still seeing hype-driven tokens still pumping, and with a thin liquidity. It doesn't take a lot of buys on the chart to make the green candles rocket up. But like I said a moment ago, as soon as a few of the early holders decide that enough is enough, it can damage everyone else coming in at that same time. So unless you've got a stable liquidity, and this is again why I always talk about liquidity, how access to liquidity should be restricted and certainly held within something like Everown. Like anything when it comes to liquidity is so important. Like it is vital that liquidity is there for holders so that they have a fair price to sell at. And it's a good question. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know the actual ratio, but Peter, TJ, Jen, feel free to add anything I've missed.
Well, I'll just back up and kind of say where this all comes from. What are we even talking about? This ratio, this relationship is almost decided right at the beginning of any particular project at pre-sale, when the project says how many project tokens can be retrieved for how much BNB or how much Ethereum, right? So if you're saying, let's say, Rise launched in version 1 way back in the day with 1 quadrillion tokens. I believe the pre-sale price for Rise tokens was 1 BNB for 100 billion tokens, which is not such a massive amount when you compare it to the total supply of 1 quadrillion. Had it been 1 BNB for 1 trillion tokens, then you reach this point where you get so many tokens locked up in the hands of whales early on, but the market cap can be kind of fake and high as a result. In other words, if you allow a lot of people to get many tokens for a small price, you're going to allow the price to be extremely volatile, and the pricing impact of every subsequent buy is going to be significant. So if you manage to band the whales together in a way to not sell early on, and you have this low liquidity to market cap ratio, you can moon to massive and unsustainable market caps. But as Jason was pointing out, if there's not enough liquidity coming in from the pre-sale, i.e. there were too many tokens sold for 1 BNB, then you get these massive dips when people finally say enough is enough. So you can check out all the stats that EverRise has on data.everrise.com/stats. You'll see what the current liquidity percentage of market cap is. Currently, including primary and reserve liquidity, we're at about 6% of market cap. And so far, we've shown ourselves to be quite stable. In fact, in version 1, people were saying that our liquidity was too high a percentage of the
Too
market,
stable.
and therefore we weren't really seeing much price movement at all. We were quite flat for a while. Not that EverRise necessarily cares about day-to-day price movements, but we certainly aren't susceptible to the whims of one or two individuals when it comes to long-term success. So it's a decision that kind of gets hardwired into a project at the very beginning when they set their pre-sale prices. And fortunately, Suresh had some forward thinking going on June 14th of 2021 when he set that ratio. But that's a great question, Monty, and I hope you vibe with the answer.
I hope others listening in kind of take that on board as well, because we talk about DYOR and just kind of getting the red flags, right? And that's one of the red flags that should stick out to you. Some of the, like, from a personal point of view, some of the projects that I'm in that I'm happy to stay in a part of, their charts are pretty boring compared to a lot of these DeFi projects that are launching out there. Not much not much in terms of the movement on the chart, but certainly, I know that there's liquidity there, and when the time comes that I choose to sell, I know that I've got a fair price going, as assuming that the market is okay at that moment in time. But yeah, very well touched upon. Obviously, you get one chance to set liquidity at the beginning, and if you mess up, and we've had it in the past, we've seen projects. I've seen firsthand what happens. A project will set the incorrect ratio, they'll launch, people will FOMO in, green candles, big crash, they've got issues with liquidity, their community screaming at them to solve it. They can't solve it because there's nothing in the contract you can change. You have to do a whole new migration, and by that point, you've lost all trust and all faith and everything in your community. So this is a big thing. And thank you for the question again, Monty. It's very important.
Thanks, Monty. Let's go over to Safe Moon Hoosier. Hey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing real well. How are you?
Doing well. I apologize if this is a stupid question. I just, EverRise is a long-term hold, and I just kind of stopped paying attention when the market started getting crazy, so I didn't get tempted to do anything stupid. But when we first migrated to V2 and staked, there was talk of a NFT for doing that, like a NFT reward. Is that something that is still in the works, or has that been replaced with the new staking NFT system?
Okay, so there's two NFTs that we had previously so essentially we had the V1 to V2 NFT. So if you had V1 tokens and you migrated across to V2, that transaction would be recorded on the blockchain, and you'd be entitled to claim a migration NFT. And then we, not so long ago, released the V2 Huddle Pass, which was eligible for people that had V2 Rise tokens, in their wallet. Now, if you had all of your Rise tokens staked, which reportedly we've had a few people say that 100% of their Rise tokens were staked. And if you remember, the days when we were staking in V2, those tokens weren't held in your wallet. So our system may not recognize everybody that was in V2 because they had all of their tokens out of their wallet. So like I mentioned earlier on, we are aware of this. There's no timeline on when to claim this V2 Huddle Pass. And when we are able to talk more about it, the dev team will certainly look at resolving that. But I can't give you a timeline on that at the moment. But does that answer your question or not?
Yeah, it does. And I'm sorry if it was a repetitive question.
No, not at all.
I was curious. EverRise is, like I said, it's a long-term hold for me, so I'm not really too concerned about timeline. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing something or forgetting about something. That's all.
No, certainly not. We certainly haven't forgot about it. It's just, and it has come up a few times in the past, but we are aware of it. And if you are one of those people that had 100% of your tokens held in a smart contract instead of your wallet, then you probably fall into that category. But we will, at some point in the future, let everybody know that we've sorted that problem.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Hoosier. Let's go to Code. Hey, Code. Code, you might have to unmute in the bottom left-hand corner. While we wait for Code, do we have any questions on YouTube and or Discord?
I got one that I like from Jay Buzz. Jay Buzz asks, can we have a big push to get a reply from Tasha? She talks a lot about ideas that Rise has implemented, but I've never seen her acknowledge us. I'm going to pin this up because Wasso, speaking of Wasso, engaged with a tweet from the Tasha Labs account. This is a person who thinks about macroeconomics and long-term crypto survival. If you haven't noticed, we've been getting attention on Twitter from some super serious accounts, like the DeFi Edge shouted us out regarding total value locked on Avalanche. These are accounts that are like trying to analyze crypto mathematically and responsibly and with a view towards long-term visions. So I'm just going to nest a tweet up that, maybe we can get her attention, because she asked today if there's anybody that's got a DEX that has no slippage, i.e. what you're quoted is what you get. Everswap is not a DEX, but it does give you accurate quotes when you're about to purchase tokens. So going to put that up in the nest and people can engage with it. Thanks, Jay Buzz, for shouting out what I think is a great follow on Twitter.
Code, are you still there, my friend?
Code, you just need to unmute your mic on the bottom left-hand side.
Oh, good day.
Hey.
Guys, you all can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry for the network. I had some issue with my service, and I guess I'm okay now. I have to compliment everyone. Like, the team is sweet. I love the energy. Love the energy you guys put in the project, and also you're helping our mental mind, like based on the market condition. You're helping us to be strong based on the fact that you guys are hosting this space weekly. It motivates us, and I want to say a huge thanks to everyone. I say thank you to the devs and everyone. I say we love you and keep on. My question is kind of, I don't know how it's going to be related by you guys, but it's kind of, I don't know the value you see in it, but I just had it in mind. Permit me to ask, what strategy can, like, or what strategy is being implemented to make sure the EverRise project is not swept out by the market? Because based on this current market condition and perhaps what we might see in future, we don't know the number of projects that might be swept out, but we know lots of projects will definitely go down and may never exist. You understand? And I believe Everest is not one of them, but I want to know some of the strategies.
Good question.
Yeah.
So I can, I'll start it off, and then anyone and everyone feel free to jump in and give in thoughts. But number one, there was the separation really between EverRise Inc., which is our company, and then EverRise the protocol. And it kind of sounds like you're asking a little bit of like, how do we know that the protocol is still going to be around given market conditions? At least that's how I interpret it, your question. And I think there are a few things to call out. We have, as a protocol, we have a significant portion of the supply that is staked and locked for an average term of about 22 months, which is almost 2 years. Our liquidity and smart contracts are locked within Everown. And let's say, God forbid, the team tomorrow disappears for mysterious reasons, who knows? EverRise, the token protocol would still run as intended. The way that the smart contracts were built, they were built to be decentralized, and the buyback protocol will still happen on a regular basis. Our staking lab is still going to be up and operational. So on that side, on the token side of things, that's ultimately up to the markets to decide. But what I can tell you is if you look at our stats, we have a significant portion that's staked. Our liquidity pools are primed and healthy. And so there's that aspect of it. with regards to the company side, obviously, you know, market conditions are tough, and what we're doing right now is we're making sure we're scaling back any unnecessary cost. The things that we do choose to spend operating money on are things that we're putting a lot of thought into and asking ourselves, is this currently worth the spend? Is it worth it to do XYZ? Like, will it produce, like, what results will it produce? Will it be impactful? Because for us, I think the most important thing is making sure that we survive through this bear market for however long that may be. And so we have already taken precautions from a leadership level in making sure that we extend the current runway that we have. Also, you know, this is where I think as we onboard more projects onto the EverRise ecosystem through EverRise Inc., it's going to be key to see like how healthy those revenue streams continue to be. And if for some reason they become unhealthy, what can we do as a company to fix that, to make sure that the lights stay on? And the way I kind of look at it, and anyone else feel free to jump in, is we're not really concerned. Like, we have already started to take, you know, our precautionary measures, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we will be here to survive these markets conditions. Does that make sense?
Makes sense here, Jen. You nailed it. I got nothing to add.
Yeah, that was perfectly answered.
Great answer, Jen. Code, I hope that answers your question. If you have a follow-up question, please, now would be the time, as we are approaching 3 o'clock. We've about 2 minutes left on the AMA. I will take that as a no. Jason, any final questions on YouTube?
So
Sorry, that was a yes. Sorry, that was a yes. I had issues. Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're happy with the answer code, yeah? I'd say that's a yes. Okay, so there was something that was obviously mentioned just a moment ago on YouTube, coming in late, so apologies. How is hiring for the new roles? I'm assuming referring to the sales team roles that were advertised. Jen, I'll let you take up on that.
Yeah, so we've been combing through CVs and resumes, and we have started to initiate interview processes with a few candidates. I'm really excited. You know, for us, it's a couple of things when it comes to what I'm looking for in someone within sales. Number one, it's the initiative. I think, like, it's funny, like, in order to be successful in a sales role, you kind of have to be able to put yourself out there and be outgoing and go into Twitter Spaces and start talking to projects, go into Telegram and then once you're on with projects, being able to explain the ecosystem in a way that actually highlights the benefits that it does have to that project. And we found a few candidates thus far that I'm pretty excited about, and we'll see how it goes. I hopefully will be introducing a few more folks to the sales team by the end of August, which will be very, very exciting for us.
Awesome. On that note, great question. On that note, it is 3 o'clock, so I do want to thank everyone for tuning in today. A reminder, we will be back at this time next week, the following week, the week after that. We are always here to answer you and your questions. Other than that, you can find us Monday to Friday on Twitter Spaces at 2 o'clock Eastern. That is every single weekday. We are accessible. We are transparent. We are always here. Everyone who tuned in on YouTube, on Twitter Spaces, anywhere else you are listening or watching, thank you very much. And we will see you tomorrow on Twitter Spaces.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.